The next book is You Don't Look Like Anyone I Know by Heather Sellers. And you might have heard about this book. It was published in 2010, so it's been on my list since that's long. It's a memoir. The author has prosopagnosia, which means that she has trouble recognizing people's faces. And I just thought it sounded really interesting. It got a lot of buzz when it first came out, so that's why I added it onto my list. I had never heard of this disability before, so I was interested in reading it and hearing the author's story. The next book is the Contortionists Handbook by Craig Clevenger. It was published in 2003, but I didn't add it to my list until 2010. It's about a guy who tries to transform or reinvent himself to avoid some legal and mental health troubles. This might have been a Chuck Palahniuk recommended book. There were some comparisons to it in some of the Goodreads reviews. Somebody mentioned his name, and I love Chuck. Most of the time I love Chuck. So I think that's why I added this book to my list, because of those comparisons. So I'll keep it on and see what I think. I also have the book Radical, Taking Back Your Faith from the American Dream. This is by David Platt. It was published in 2010, and that's how long it's been on my list. So as you can see, this is just proof with all the other books too that I've been reading faith-based books for years. I always love kind of learning new things about religion and, good or bad. This is a book that's supposed to be what Christian lives are supposed to look like. We kind of go through some motions, and we interpret things in the Bible to fit our cultural norms today. There's apparently a challenge at the end to do a 1-year journey called the Radical Experiment. I don't know what that's about. I'm not really sure that this book is going to speak to me. Not that I'm like, oh, I don't want to live like Jesus, but I think there might be some parts of it that I disagree with. I'm not sure. Just from reading the synopsis, that was kind of my feeling. But I still should read it just to see if my initial reaction is the same. And continuing on to faith-based books, it's The Questions Christians Hope No One Will Ask by Mark Mittelberg. This was published in 2010, and I also added it in 2010. And it's basically, I think it's like 1,000 questions with answers. So if somebody comes up to you and says, well, what does the Bible say about this? What should Christians do about this? Then you're supposed to have those tough answers ready at the mind to answer for them and give them the real response of what should be said. There's a foreword to this book by Lee Strobel, who I liked. I liked the case for Christ, or was it the case for faith? Now I can't remember. I liked one of those. The other one I was kind of like toward. But I also feel like maybe Lee Strobel and I don't see eye to eye on certain things. So with a foreword by him, I don't know if this book is going to be seeing eye to eye with me either. But I still do want to read it just to see what some of the answers are supposed to be. And if I disagree with them, that's fine. If I do agree with them, great. So we'll see. Okay, and you've stuck with me this long. Now I actually have books in hand. This book, Unfriendly Fire, How the Gay Ban Undermines the Military and Weakens America, has been on my list since 2010. It was published in 2009. I know a lot has changed since the publication of this book. I think that this was, when I first heard about this book, I felt like it was a really important book because I agree with it. But it's based on a decade of research and interviews, and so I still feel like it's something that should be read, if not to just continue the fight, but to also kind of remind us where we were and let's not go back there, right? So I got this for Christmas a couple years ago. Maybe I should put it on my to-read list for next month because I think it's still an important book and an important topic. And then last but not least, I swear this is the last one, No Plot, No Problem was published in 2004. I added it to my to-read list in 2010 in November, which coincides with National Novel Writing Month, so that's probably why I added it. The author is actually the founder of National Novel Writing Month. If you haven't participated in that, it's basically the entire month of November. You write, I think it has to be at least 50,000 words a novel during the whole month of November. And they have meetups that you can go to and meet with fellow people, and you can all sit in a library or a coffee shop and work on your stuff and chit chat and talk about stories and ideas and blah, blah, blah. I've done some of those before. I've worked on the novels by myself before. I think I've won National Novel Writing Month like twice. It's hard for me to do it now with a child, but this book, No Plot, No Problem, is supposed to be a low-stress, high-velocity guide to writing a novel in 30 days. If you've done this one before, let me know. I also had another book from Chris Beatty that I picked up at Target a couple years ago. I bought it, yay! And I was kind of going through that. That was also kind of very similar, a guide to writing a novel. I got sort of far with it, but then not really. So maybe I need to combine this with that, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so those are the 13 books that have been on my to-read list for the longest amount of time. 2009, now we're in 2019. It's been 10 years since I've wanted to read some of these books. You guys, oh, there are too many books and not enough time to read them. If only I could get paid to just sit around and read books all day. That would be really, really cool. What books have been on your to-read list for the longest? Even if it's just been a couple months or a couple years, let me know in the comments. Did any of these books spark your interest? If you've read any of the books that are on my to-read list, let me know what you thought of them and if I should keep them on the list or if it's really not worth a read. Because please, like I said, I've got 430 something books on my Goodreads to-read list. I don't know how I'm going to get to them all. Please like this video, subscribe below so you can see more great book videos as well as scrapbook process videos too. And connect with me on social media and Goodreads. My links are below, so I'd love to connect with you on Goodreads so that we can share our lists and talk books there too. That's it. I better stop making this video so I can go read some books. Bye.